Thank you, Melanie, and thank you to ULI France. My name is Leslie Johnston, and I'm the CEO of Laudes Foundation. I wish I could be with you all in person, but I'm delighted to contribute to this conversation virtually, because if there's one sector where change is both urgently needed and entirely possible, it's the built environment. In fact, I'm just back from COP30 and was thrilled to see movement by various countries, including Brazil, in endorsing important initiatives like the Principles for Responsible Timber Construction. If we care about climate, if we care about nature, if we care about people, we should care about buildings. Buildings, as you know, account for nearly 40% of global emissions. And at the same time, millions of Europeans lack safe, affordable housing. So the question for me is not only how we decarbonize buildings at scale and pace, but how do we do it where we put people at the center? And this is where philanthropy can help shift what's possible. But here's the spoiler alert. Philanthropy globally is not that big. It's less than $1 trillion US, and only about 2% of that is going toward climate mitigation initiatives. So any use of philanthropy inevitably must be catalytic. In other words, philanthropy isn't a substitute for public investment or market action, but it does play a catalytic role where systems are stuck or where innovation is too risky. Philanthropy can take the first risk when markets hesitate. It can convene unusual allies. It can seed new models. It can ensure that people and communities are at the center of everything we do. So what does this look like in practice? Well, for us at Laudes Foundation, we helped launch, for example, an initiative called Built by Nature, which is accelerating Europe's shift toward low carbon construction. Why? Well, because of half of building emissions are locked in the embodied carbon from concrete and steel. Built by Nature is special because it brings together different companies, designers, developers, investors, cities, what we call the Big Six, working pre-competitively to show that material change is possible and investable. We're doing this across Europe, for example, with a project called Optoppen, which is showing how lightweight timber can add affordable housing to existing buildings without consuming more land. And right here in France, Built by Nature has just launched a dedicated national network, Built by Nature France, administered by BBCA and supported by Laudes. So over the next 3 years, it will grow to about 50 frontrunner organizations and companies, strengthening France's leadership in low-carbon construction. But decarbonization must also ensure that people aren't priced out. We support, for example, community land trusts, where land is held in community stewardship, keeping homes permanently affordable. In London, for example, a CLT project we backed delivered 0 planning objections because its residents were meaningfully involved from the start. Climate solutions that are community-led are more durable, are more legitimate, and are more equitable. So, what do we do with this? Well, it's clear to me that the built environment is changing and must change faster. But we need a transition that is not only low carbon, but is also affordable and centered on people. Philanthropy isn't the protagonist here, but it is important. It can clear the path, it can reduce risk, it can build coalitions, it can ensure that communities drive change rather than simply endure it. So if we unite our climate ambition with social fairness, we in Europe can show that the future of the built environment isn't just possible, it's already emerging. And I see that with many of you in the room. So thank you to all for your work in making this vision possible. And let's build a transition that works for people and planet. Thank you.